Do it yourself, go kart. Do it yourself, go kart. Do it yourself, go kart. It's the one-stop shop for installing kart parts.
Hello and welcome back to DIY Golf Cart. In today's installation video, we'll be installing an EZGO TXT full diamond plate accessory kit. This includes a 7-piece kit with a shock cover, axle cover, kick plate, 2 rocker panels, access panel cover, and a rear bumper cover. 7/16 wrench, 3/8 wrench, 7/16 socket, 3/8 socket, socket wrench, and a Phillips screwdriver. In this video we'll be installing a front shock shield on a 95 and up EZGO TXT. Now let's begin. Our first step on the installation of this shock cover will be to remove the factory one. Now the cart we're working on here already has the light installed, but as you can see there's these brackets up here that hold the shock cover and the light bracket to the frame of the golf cart. So we'll take a 3/8 wrench and remove these bolts. Once that bolt's removed, we'll do the same on the other side and then move right back here to the bolts that are supporting the front shock shield. Once we've got the 2 bolts removed at the top of the shock shield, our next step will be to remove the 2 bracket bolts that are holding the shock shield off of the cart. Now we can't use a wrench for this, we're going to need to use a socket. So this is a 3/8 socket. Once we've got the 4 bolts removed holding the shock shield in place, we're going to drop it down and disconnect the wiring harness from the light bar. Now that we've got the wiring harness removed, we can set the shock shield to the side, then grab some zip ties which aren't provided in the kit, and find a place up underneath the front cowling here to zip tie the factory wiring harness to. So we just found a place right up here, throw a zip tie on. Our next step will require us to install the shock shield. Alright, once we've got the wiring harness removed from the factory light bar, we need to take a 7/16 wrench and 7/16 socket. We're going to have to remove these brackets and the brackets holding the light bar on, as these will be reused to install the diamond plate shock shield. Alright, do this to both sides. We'll move on to the next step. Alright, in order to give this diamond plate kit the look that we're looking for, we're not going to install the factory light bar. We're actually going to do some cut-in lights here in the front cowl. But if you are wanting to reinstall the factory light bar to your front shock shield, you'll just use the same holes where you removed it and the same brackets, and they'll line up perfect. Every one of our diamond plate accessories comes with the bolt pack distinguishing which accessory the bolts fit. So right here, we're going to take these nuts and the lock nuts and the bolts. We're going to run it through, put the factory brackets on, and loosely tighten the lock nut. Do the same for the other side. Once we've got our support brackets on our shock shield, for this cart we're going to use the pre-drilled holes on the inside and match them up with the frame. You'll want to reuse your existing hardware, so you put that up in there like so. Grab your bolt. Put it in there. And do the same for the other side. Once we've installed the two bolts holding the front shock shield at the top, our next step will be to mount the brackets back to the frame of the golf cart. So I've rolled up underneath the cart, but you can obviously do this task to the side of the cart. So you just want to put it in the hole, like so. Grab your wrench, tighten it down. I just do it kind of tight for now, then move on to your other bracket. Now with a Phillips screwdriver and a 7/16 wrench, we're going to tighten up the front. Front shock shield installation complete. 5/8 socket, socket wrench, and 5/8 wrench. We'll be installing a front axle cover on a 2001 and up EZGO TXT. Now what's very important about a 2001 and up is that the steering box is mounted to the front axle. If your steering box is mounted up underneath the front cowl, this axle cover will not fit. Our first step in installing the axle cover is we're going to need to remove the 5/8 bolts that are attaching the front axle weldment to the front springs there. So the bolts that we need to locate are the ones on the outside, and if you notice, this axle cover has a notch here to accommodate for the steering box that's mounted to the front axle. So we'll take a 5/8 bit and a 5/8 open-end wrench, and we'll remove these two bolts. Once we've got that side removed, we'll do the same to the other side. Alright, now that we've got both the bolts removed, next step, very simple. Just take the axle cover, place it over like so. Grab the same bolt that you used when you removed it, put it through, then put the nut on. Our final step, just be tighten the bolts down. And that concludes our install of the front axle cover. Drill, 7/16 socket with extension, 1/4 inch drill bit, socket wrench, and a Phillips screwdriver. Video will be installing some high quality diamond plate rocker panels on the sides of an EZGO TXT. Our first step when installing the new rocker panels is to remove the factory hardware. So what we have here is we have a Phillips and a 7/16 socket. So we locate the bottom. You probably want to put an extension on your socket wrench just so that you're able to get it from both sides. And then the seal plate will come right off the cart like that. Once we remove the factory seal plate, our next step will be to remove the rivets on either side of the rocker panels here. Now this will require the use of a 1/4 inch drill bit. Just want to go really slow like that, and do the same to the other side. Once we remove the stock factory rocker panels, these rivets that we drilled out are still kind of hanging there in the hole, so you just want to pull those out. You can take your replacement diamond plate aluminum rocker panel, just set it on there like so. And then in every one of these kits we've got a hardware pack. It's got supplied nuts and bolts for both sides of the cart. So we'll take our one of our truss head bolts, run it through, take our lock nut, put it on the back side, and once again these are stainless steel. Do the same on this side. Then move right along, tighten them down. Once we got that side, do the same to the other side. One trick that we'll just demonstrate here, in order to get the rocker panel at an even line with the body, is to grab a jack and just lightly jack it up on this back corner back here so that we can put our self-tapping screw in the frame. So that looks about level right there. And then we'll grab a drill with a Phillips head on it, and then we got our stainless steel self-tapping screw. Put it right there in the hole. Now it might take a while for that hole to get in there, but once it's done, it gives the cart a really nice look. This concludes our installation rocker panels on an EZGO TXT. We'll be installing a kick plate on a 95 and up EZGO TXT. Our first step in installing a kick plate on an EZGO TXT will be to put it in the center. Now we've got some markers here, which are the rocker panels that we've already installed on either side. So what you want to do is you want to make sure the gap is the same on both sides, and you've got a good place where to start. So we'll take the stainless steel screws provided in the kit, and a drill works best when installing the kick plate. So we got a Phillips drill bit on the end of the screw. We're just drilling it right in the body. Oops. Now in order not to strip it, you might want to adjust the settings on your drill down to like 1 or 2, and it'll stop the drill process. And that concludes our install of a kick plate on an EZGO TXT. Phillips head screwdriver, T20 Torx bit, and a socket wrench. We'll be installing an access panel on the rear of this EZGO TXT golf cart. Now these fit 1995 and up TXT and Medalist carts. Our first step prior to installing the access panel will be to remove the front seat off your golf cart. So to do this, just pick it up and it just hinges right off like so. Set that to the side, and then you'll grab a T20 Torx bit and locate the screws that are already here in the access panel and remove them like so. Looks like this one's already been kind of removed. It's been broken, but we'll still remove the screws. And then we'll move right along to the back side of the cart. Finally, we'll need to remove the 3 that are holding the back side of the access panel onto the cart. Now this job would be a lot easier if we didn't have a rear seat kit, but on this particular cart we do have this rear seat kit on it, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. 5 Torx bolts removed, the 2 up front here and the 3 in the rear, we'll just slide this access cover, or access panel, directly off the cart like so. And then we'll locate the one that we provide and slide it right on there and make sure that the holes line up with the factory ones. And then, like all of our parts in every kit, we've got the bolt pack here for this access panel. Okay, once we got the access panel on, we'll find the original holes where the previous one was. We'll line them up with our new stainless steel hardware and screw them right down in place. We'll do the same with the other side over here. We'll move right along to the back side of the cart once we got this all tightened down. Alright, now we just need to install the screws, line up the holes in the back of the access panel. So we'll do this to all 3 holes, and that'll conclude the install. Okay, once we've got the new diamond plate access panel installed on the EZGO here, we're going to reinstall the seat. This concludes the install of the access panel. Tools needed: 3/8 wrench, Phillips screwdriver. We'll be installing a nameplate cover on an EZGO TXT. Our first step in installing the nameplate will be to remove the factory one. Now to do this, we'll take a 3/8 and you can almost just do this with your hands because these nuts are just attached to plastic. Then just pull the nameplate off, like so. Once we've got the factory nameplate removed, we'll take the diamond plated one provided in the kit, and you're going to have to kind of level it and eye it out yourself. But I'd say that looks about right there. Then grab a marker or a pen and mark all your holes. That'll probably be a little bit easier if you have a light colored body, but the one we're using here is black. So once we got our holes marked, we'll just remove it, and as you can see, there's holes marked there, or we'll have to drill through the front cowl. Our next step, once we remove the factory nameplate, we're going to put the nameplate in the center of the cart, and then grab the stainless steel hardware that's provided and screw it right into the factory cowl. This concludes our install of the front nameplate on an EZGO TXT. Tools needed: 1/4 inch drill bit, drill, 3/8 socket, and a socket wrench. We'll be installing a rear diamond plate bumper cover on this 1995 and up EZGO TXT. Okay, our first step in installing the new rear bumper here is to remove these little plugs. You just grab a flathead screwdriver, just pop them out all the way around the cart. You gotta kind of work your way back there, and they'll pop all off just like that. Okay, since This cart has a rear seat kit on it. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to drop the footrest in order to install the rear bumper. Of course, if your cart does not have a rear seat on it, then you won't have to do this step. But we're going to show it to you anyways. So grab a 9/16. This our kit comes with the 9/16. Once we've got our step in a position where we can remove these 4 3/8 bolts back here, we'll remove these. So remove all 4 of these, and then we'll show you the next step. Once we've got the 4 bolts removed on the back side of the bumper, our next step will be removing these rivets here. So we'll take a 1/4 inch drill bit and then make sure that you're wearing some protective eyewear. Just drill these out very slow. Let the bit do the work. Do the same to the top. Once we've got these 2 removed, we'll do the same to the other side. Once we've got the rivets removed on both sides and the 4 bolts removed, just take the bumper off, just like that. Now if you want, you can clean it up, but we're just going to install the new bumper cover. So what we'll do here, we'll just line the holes up and just reuse the same hardware for these 4 bolts. So we got that one in. We'll do the same for the next. We're going to jump all the way over here and do this one. Alright, once we got that one, we'll do the other 2. Once we got the 4 bolts put in the bumper there, it's just now time to reinstall our foot plate. Like I said, if your cart doesn't have one of these, you'll just need to skip this step.